What's up, guys? It's Brittany, and welcome to another episode of Randomness. I want you to try something with me, and I'll warn you, it might feel a little uncomfortable. Look at yourself in a mirror, not to check your hair or see if you have something in your teeth. Just holding eye contact with themselves is one of the hardest things they'll do all week. We look away, we focus on a flaw, we make a joke, we feel awkward, strange, or exposed. And that tells you something profound. We don't actually know ourselves very well, and we certainly don't like ourselves as much as we pretend to. Anyways, guys, welcome to Randomness. I'm Brittany, and today we're talking about self-love, but not the sanitized, Instagram-friendly version, not the treat yourself to a spa day and everything will be fine version. We're talking about the real, messy, uncomfortable work of learning to love yourself. The person you are right now, the person you think you should be. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Most of us don't love ourselves. Some of us don't even like ourselves. We're walking around with this constant nagging feeling that we're not good enough, that we are too much or not enough, that if people really knew us, the real us, they'd leave. And we're exhausted from it. So today we're going to unpack where that comes from and why it's so hard to change, and most importantly, what actually works, not the empty platitudes, not the quick fixes, the real path to building a relationship with yourself that feels solid, honest, and kind, because you deserve that, even if you don't believe it yet. So let's dive in. Before we talk about learning to love yourself, we need to talk about how you learned not to, because nobody is born hating themselves. That's learned, it's taught, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly, but always effectively. Think about your childhood. Maybe you were told directly or indirectly that you are too loud, too sensitive, too much. Or maybe, all right, sorry, I got a phone call. Not sure what I said last, but maybe you were told you were too loud, too sensitive, too much, or maybe you were told that you weren't enough, not smart enough, not athletic enough, not pretty enough, not successful enough. Maybe your parents were loving, but they had conditions like, I love you when you get good grades. I love you when you behave. I love you when you make me proud. So you learn that love is something you earn through performance, not something you inherently deserve. Or maybe your parents were struggling with their own wounds like addiction, mental illness, their own unhealed trauma, and you learned to shrink yourself, to not be a burden. You became the good kid, the easy kid, the one who didn't need anything. And somewhere in that, you learned that your needs didn't matter. Then there's school. Kids are brutal, like if you were different in any way, too fat, too thin, too smart, too awkward, wrong clothes, wrong interests, you learn that being yourself was dangerous. So you learn to hide, to perform, to edit yourself down to something more acceptable. And then there's culture. We are swimming in messages about who we should be, what we should look like, how we should act, what success means, what beauty means, what worthiness means. For women, there's the impossible beauty standards, the pressure to be nurturing but not needy, sexy but not too sexual, ambitious but not threatening. And for men, there's the pressure to be strong, to never show weakness, to equate your worth with your productivity and your ability to provide. For anyone who doesn't fit neatly into those boxes, LGBTQ plus people of color, people with disabilities, people whose bodies or minds or identities don't match the normal template. There's an even louder message. You are wrong. Fix yourself. So, is it any wonder we don't love ourselves? We've spent our entire lives getting the message that we need to be different than we are, that who we are fundamentally is not okay. And here's where it gets really insidious. We internalized those voices. It's not just your parents or your bullies or society criticizing you anymore. It's you. You've taken over the job. You're the one calling yourself lazy, stupid, ugly, unlovable. You're the one cataloging your failures, comparing yourself to others, holding yourself to impossible standards. You became your own worst enemy, and you don't even realize you're doing it most of the time because it's just the background noise of your mind. That voice in your head, the critical one, that's not the voice of truth. That's the voice of your wounds. It's the voice of every person who hurt you, every standard you couldn't meet, every time you felt rejected or abandoned or not good enough. It's trauma talking. It's fear talking. But it's convincing, isn't it? Because it sounds like you. So when we talk about learning to love yourself, we're not just talking about the positive thinking or affirmations. We're talking about deprogramming. We're talking about identifying the lies you've been told about yourself and choosing not to believe them anymore. And that's revolutionary work. But before we get into what self-love actually is, let's clear up some misconceptions because there's a lot of garbage advice out there, okay? So, some myths. Self-love means thinking you're perfect. No, that's not self-love. That's delusion or narcissism, and that's not what we're going for. Self-love doesn't mean you think you're flawless. It means you accept that you're flawed, like literally every human who has ever existed, and you don't let those flaws determine your worth. And then we have the self-love means you never feel bad about yourself. Also know you're human. You're going to have bad days. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to feel insecure sometime. Self-love is selfish. This one's huge. So many people resist self-love because they've been taught that taking care of yourself means you're neglecting others. But here's the truth. You cannot pour from an empty cup, right? So when you don't love yourself, when you're running on fumes, when you're constantly sacrificing yourself for others because you don't believe your needs matter, you become resentful, you burn out, and eventually you have nothing left to give anyone. And people say that self-love is a destination you reach. Like it's a finish line. Like one day you'll wake up and think, I've arrived. I love myself now and everything will be easy forever. But no, it's not a destination. It's a practice. It's a choice you make every single day. Some days it feels easy. Some days it'll feel impossible, and that's okay. Self-love is treating yourself the way you would treat someone that you deeply care about. It's speaking to yourself with kindness. It's honoring your needs without guilt. It's forgiving yourself when you mess up. It's believing that you're worthy of care, respect, and happiness, not because you earned it, but because you exist. That's it. It's simple. But simple doesn't mean easy. Okay, enough theory. Let's get practical. How do you actually learn to love yourself when everything in your conditioning is screaming that you don't deserve it? First thing, notice the voice. You need to be able to become aware of how you talk to yourself, okay? For 1 week, just pay attention. When something goes wrong, what do you say to yourself? When you look in the mirror, when you make a mistake at work, write it down if you can. You'll probably be shocked by how mean you are to yourself. And once you see it, you can start to change it and challenge the narrative. When that critical voice pipes up, don't just accept it as truth, question it. I'm so stupid. Really? Are you actually stupid, or did you just make a mistake? Is anyone who makes a mistake stupid, or is that an impossible or impossibly harsh standard? Nobody likes me. Is that actually true, or are you making that up on your own just based on one interaction. Practice self-compassion, okay? This is the heart of it. Self-compassion is treating yourself the way you would treat a good friend who's struggling. When you mess up, instead of beating yourself up, try this. I made a mistake. That's hard, but everyone makes mistakes. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. What can I learn from this? When you're in pain, instead of telling yourself to toughen up, try this. This hurts. It's okay that it hurts. I'm allowed to feel this. What do I need to feel right now? It sounds cheesy, I know, but research shows that self-compassion is one of the strongest predictors of mental health, resilience, and life satisfaction. Stronger than self-esteem even. Set boundaries. Self-love means protecting yourself from people, situations, and behaviors that harm you, even when it's uncomfortable, even when people get mad. It means saying no when you need to, walking away from relationships that are toxic, not tolerating disrespect, manipulation, or abuse. And yes, sometimes that means disappointing people. Sometimes it means being called selfish. That's the price of self-respect, and it's worth it. Honor your needs. Your needs are not weaknesses. They're not burdens. They're not something to apologize for. You need rest? Rest. You need connection? Reach out. You need solitude? Take it. You need help? Ask for it. Stop treating your needs like they're optional extras. They are fundamental to your well-being, and you do not need to justify them to anyone, including yourself. Forgive yourself. This is one that people resist the most. We hold on to guilt and shame like they're doing something useful. Like if we just punish ourselves enough, we'll somehow undo the past, but you can't change what happened. You can only choose what to do now. You don't have to forget, but you do have to let go of the self-punishment. It's not serving you. Celebrate yourself. We're so quick to notice our failures and so slow to acknowledge our wins. So start celebrating yourself for the small things. Notice the good. Give yourself credit. Let yourself feel proud. You need to spend time with yourself. Get to know yourself. What do you actually like? What brings you joy? What makes you feel alive? Surround yourself with love. Seek out people who see you, who celebrate you, who call you out when you needed, but do it with love, who reflect back to you your worthiness. And be patient. This is lifelong work. You're undoing years, maybe decades of conditioning. You are rewiring your brain. You're healing deep wounds. Some days you'll feel like you're making progress. Some days you'll feel like you've learned nothing. Both are part of the process. Keep showing up, keep trying, keep choosing yourself. That's all you can do. And it's enough. When you finally start to love yourself, relationships change. You start attracting people who match your energy and people who respect you. Your anxiety decreases. Your decision-making improves. You stop betraying yourself. When you love yourself, you stop doing that. You show up for yourself the way you show up for the people you love, and that changes everything. You become more creative and alive. You remember what it feels like to be alive instead of just surviving. You become less judgmental of others. You find peace in knowing that you're enough, that you're worthy, that you can handle your life, that you don't need to be anyone other than who you are. And that peace, that's worth every uncomfortable moment of the journey. Here's the truth I wish someone would have told me years ago, okay? You're going to spend every single day of your life with yourself, every single day, from birth to death. You're the only constant. So doesn't it make sense to make that relationship a good one? Not perfect, not effortless, but good, kind, respectful, loving. You do not need to be fixed. You don't need to earn the right to love yourself. You're allowed to love yourself right now. Messy, imperfect, still figuring it out. And I know it's hard. I know everything in your history might be telling you that you don't deserve it, but that's a lie. The truth is simpler and more radical than you think. You deserve love simply because you exist. So start small. Start today. Start with one kind thought, one boundary, one moment of self-compassion, and tomorrow do it again. I'm so proud of you, even if you don't believe it yet. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to hit that follow button and share randomness with a friend. Go look in the mirror, look yourself in the eyes, and say, I'm learning to love you. You don't have to believe it yet. Just say it and see what happens.
Free audio post-production by Alphonic.com.